Welcome to the Alsco Uniforms It Pays to Keep Clean podcast, where we discuss industry best practices, celebrate big wins, and share stories about Alsco's growth journey.
Good afternoon, Monique Welsh and Steve Barden. How are you doing?
Great, thank you, Dana, and what a glorious place to be fair.
I know. So we're here in Carlsbad, California for the 2025 Managers Meeting, where we have the pleasure of welcoming a lot of our international colleagues, so it's always good to see you all. But we were just chatting, and you've been regulars in the States over the last few months, so.
Not about regulars, but we've had a couple of quick trips, and really privileged to go to the Clean Show in Orlando.
Orlando, that's not a quick trip to get from.
No, about 30 hours.
Sydney to,
30 hours with a changeover somewhere.
Of course, that was about what it took you to get from Salt Lake to Vegas just the other day, was 30 hours too, as well.
Yes, it was.
I don't really want to travel with Monique anymore, to be fair, because she has this kind of way of making a 3-hour trip into a 10-hour one. It's fabulous. Okay. And I think coming back from Orlando, it was a 2-day affair for you.
It was. I missed my connecting flight due to some storms in Orlando, so I stayed in LA for the night. So it was good.
Well, yes, you may want to make separate arrangements in the future. So let's start with just getting to know you both a little bit. Monique and Steve, I know within the last year, maybe 18 months now, you've both kind of changed positions. And so talk a little bit, Monique, first for you, what you were doing in Alsco, kind of maybe even how you got to Alsco, what you were doing before Alsco, how you got there, and then what your role has been in the last 18 months or so.
Sure. Well, 17 years ago I joined Alsco. Prior to that, I worked for a competitor in washroom services, and they were fairly large in the industry. They're a global organisation, and they had some changes, and I decided to depart there, and was lucky enough to get a role within Alsco. And my journey is pretty different to, I think, a lot of managers. I started in fresh and clean washroom services, which is the equivalent of all fresh, and facility services, and worked my way up. I've had 6 different roles within Alsco, and after 4 of them, I was the GM of Fresh and Clean, and was very lucky to become a divisional general manager, where I started to look after some textile branches as well as clean room garments in Australia, which was fantastic. And then, of course, last year in March 2024, Steve and I did a bit of a swap, and I became the general manager for New Zealand and for Asia.
So that's quite a change. And so about every 3 years or so, you were changing roles, it sounds like.
Absolutely, yes, it was. I like to keep things,
right,
keep on the move.
Things moving. Yeah.
And of course, I like to learn. So it's been quite a diverse journey compared to, I think, a lot of managers that I talk to within Alsco who had the textile hat on for a long time, and it's been slightly different for me, but really happy in the role. It's been a great learning curve for me, especially around culture, and I get to see a wide range of customers now in the role in New Zealand and of course in Asia.
So Steve, let's get you introduced, and then we can kind of really get after it here. So tell us a little bit, kind of your journey within Alsco, maybe even before Alsco, if you had a before Alsco.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm a New Zealand born, but I spent a lot of time in the UK and in Hong Kong for a couple of years. And I met my wife, and we decided we wanted to start a family. I was working for a business that was making the very first sleeper seats for Boeing aircraft.
Cool.
We de-skilled the role from aircraft engineers and moved the whole operation to Wales, a place called Cwmbran. And so basically I was working myself out of a job for 2 years, and it fitted perfectly because we were going to get married and came straight to New Zealand. And the goal was to buy a bit of land and have some chickens and just kind of relax.
How's that going?
Well, I've tried it and it's hard work. So I saw an advert for Alsco Auckland, and it was for a team leader in the store. And I remember being interviewed by the manager at the time, and it was, he said, "Are you going to be okay? It's managing 3 people." And I was thinking, do you know, I think we'll make this work quite well. And I was just staying for a couple of months until we found a property with a bit of land and to relax. But I fell in love with Alsco. And it was because, you know, that family-owned piece, the values, there was a change in branch manager at the time. Mark Roberts came to be the branch manager. And a bit like Monique, I've had 7 to get where I am, so an extra step. But I went through a few different roles in the textile side of the business. We still had textile managers at the time, and then went through service. And my moves were kind of then 5 years. I did 5 years in Palmerston North as branch general manager. Then I managed Auckland branch for 5 years, about 5 years. Then became a regional manager, so I had half the country to take care of, which was really good fun, you know, to get around New Zealand and see some of the sites. And then post-COVID, when the world went a little bit crazy, Mark became the CEO for APAC, and I was fortunate enough to become the general manager for New Zealand. Which was fabulous. So there was some interesting challenges along the way over that time. It was quite uncertain what was happening. And then, 18 months ago, there was a bit of a shuffle around, and I feel, you know, truly privileged to be managing Alsco Australia. It's
So did you pick up your chickens and move them, or how did that?
We stopped the chickens. You don't realise how hard having a lifestyle property is. We had 3 kids under 5 with about 4 acres. And if you want to know how not to cut down a tree with a chainsaw, I am the perfect person to speak.
Okay, everybody's got to be an expert in something, so congratulations. So Monique, were you in Sydney that whole time?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're still kind of in Sydney, but obviously...
Not much these days.
Not much, okay.
Not much. I have an office in Sydney and I have a house in Sydney, but I spend most of my time travelling, and I'd say New Zealand, I'm there once a month, and in Asia, once a quarter.
Once a quarter?
Yeah.
Okay, at each of the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what kind of a transition has this been for you, and kind of what are you, sounds like you're kind of the resident expert maybe in the fresh and clean side of the business, and how have you been able to transition now into kind of looking at a broader set of leadership skills?
Yeah, I think it's been quite a learning experience for me in the fact of understanding how the different businesses operate, especially in Asia.
Yeah.
New Zealand is even culturally quite different to Australia as well. For Fresh and Clean, it has a strong presence in New Zealand,
Yes.
which is fantastic.
Yep.
And is growing well. In Asia, there is one branch that has the Fresh and Clean business. We are looking at doing a rebrand very shortly.
That's Singapore?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
That's
So that we're putting the Fresh and Clean brand into Singapore early next year, which is exciting. We've got a whole new dispenser range and some really great things happening there. Steve and I have a presentation coming up at the conference on Wednesday.
Yes, we're excited to hear it.
About Fresh and Clean, and for us, we call it zero to hero. Like it is just a beautiful service, and it's a great. It's been a great bolt-on to a lot of our businesses, and especially around margin, we know that it's quite profitable. Compliance is important. Health and hygiene never been more important now than after COVID.
Right.
So, yeah, it's been super exciting, and for me, being able to look at that from a higher level to say, hey, I think we've got opportunity here. Let's understand what the market's needs are.
Are you seeing some of that kind of growth and questions as well in the Australian market?
We are. Interestingly, for Australia, I think we don't have quite the same maturity in that market, and we haven't taken advantage of the opportunities. Yeah. We have in the big centres like Sydney and in Melbourne, Brisbane. So we've got this fantastic opportunity in the broader sense of, rural Queensland and other areas that we can take advantage. And it's pretty easy to set up, especially for the Fresh and Clean. It doesn't put any pressure on a plant. You don't have to have any distribution really between them.
We're not hiring 10 more people in order to produce these things or anything like that. Yes.
And we have some great opportunity as well in Australia, just from growing our national account portfolio. Again, at the risk of always comparing to New Zealand, but it was kind of part of my life for so long. I think we've got a lot on the table that we can still get. Just, we are only just a bit more revenue than New Zealand, and I think we could we should be doubling that over the coming years.
It's exciting. So what other opportunities are you seeing in Australia then? What other sectors or market areas seem to be growing?
In fairness, our garments continue to grow, and I suppose that is helped with the Alsco Uniforms brand, albeit at the moment it's quite competitive. As a whole, I think that we're seeing some signs of the old procurement behaviour of just really trying to scrimp on that price and really kind of tighten up, which is posing some challenges. However, we stand by the service we provide, etc. So that uniform space, the fresh and clean, I know that we've got some great opportunity with our sustainability piece. We've got a new first aid cabinet we're working on at the moment, which will really take that sustainability to the next level.
Ooh, okay, I want to talk about that.
Oh,
It's a secret.
I think we can say it. We are going to talk about it at the conference, but this won't be out before the conference. So
It will not
we,
be out
we
before.
can we can give you a
We're
little
live streaming. Yeah.
so we can give you the inside edge.
Well, I want to get into the sustainability stuff for sure, but I want to talk too about, you mentioned something that we've been seeing in the North American market too, is almost the commoditization of the industry, which is a shame when we understand that there's so much more to delivering this service week in and week out in a reliable fashion, that price really can't be the only thing. So what kinds of things are you doing, or how do you have that conversation with a prospect or even a current customer who's shy about renewing in order to convince them that there is a value in the actual service and price isn't the only arbiter?
No, you first.
Okay. Usually, what we have
Because you're
tended,
seeing it in New Zealand too, I assume.
100%. New
Okay,
Zealand,
yeah.
I mean, I took over March 1, record month, beautiful, this is fantastic. And then it went into recession. It was like, oh, hang on a second. What we've done, and the services are still growing, which is fantastic. We divert the conversation away from price as much as we can by asking the customer, what's the most important thing to you? Now, if you get price, what else is important to you? Well, and then we start talking about sustainability and ESG, and what we try and do is get our sales team focused on talking about all the great things, telling a story about what Alsco is doing to ensure that we are supporting our community and our people and our customers. And what we're trying to do is get that message out there. We've just put out an APAC report, so Steve and I worked on that with our marketing teams, and we've just published a brand new report. We get our salespeople to start talking about the circular economy. Steve's just mentioned something about first aid. We've got community partners. We're doing fantastic things in New Zealand. We've just removed coal. We are coal free now, which is awesome. And we get them to talk about those things to say, well, these things do come at a cost. So we're never going to be the cheapest. We deliver great service, and we want to make sure that we're here for a long time, and we've got to ensure that, we're supporting our future, our children's future, and making sure that the customer understands this is what Alsco does.
We are focusing on, we've got about just under 50,000 locations in Australia, and I think New Zealand's about 29,000. And we're just conscious, sometimes it's easy to put your price point up for your smaller loyal customers.
Sure.
So we're cognizant of that, because otherwise it just becomes quite disconnected to where that price point should be. You can't price increase to prosperity. You have to go out there and get good quality business, and make sure that your loyal customers, because they're our bread and butter. They absolutely are. You go for these big behemoths, that's really cool, but everyone else wants a piece of that pie as well.
Of course, yes. And they're usually in circulation every few years, right? They're unlikely to be with the same provider for decades.
It would be nice if they would.
Yes, it would. Well, I'm sure that that's what you're going to be doing in 2026, is making sure that those ones stick around. So let's talk a little bit about the sustainability then. I know Australia and New Zealand have always been, in my mind anyway, at the forefront of what Alsco is kind of doing in that area, and part of that's culturally driven by the country cultures, and then culturally driven by what Alsco values. So Monique, let's start with you. Talk a little bit about some of the sustainability initiatives that are going on.
Yeah, look, we'll start off with community. So we have national community partners appointed in all of the countries, Asia and New Zealand, as well as some local community partners that our branches get to support. So that includes volunteering, product, service donations, and the team love it. The team absolutely think it's so satisfying, and they want to do it more regularly. So we certainly have, in one particular organisation that we work with, Orange Sky, so that's a mobile laundry service which was set up actually in Australia, and I brought it over to New Zealand and said, hey, let's support this because it's absolutely fantastic, and the team are really inspired by the work that they do, and it's obviously aligned with what we do.
Right.
From a people perspective, we have introduced a range of different educational type training sessions. We're working together actually from an APAC perspective on some of them, so management development program, and then we've got Aspire and a range of different middle management training that we do, just to ensure that from a service person to a middle manager to a senior manager, that we're coaching and training them, and it's ongoing.
That's great.
Yeah, interesting. We have actually aligned our two key pillars, which is people and customer. And we've got a simple mantra: we want to be easy to do business with, and we need to give our people the tools to do their jobs. And one of Monique's raised many of the similarities with what you're doing in New Zealand. We have sustainability heroes at each branch, so they're kind of our champions, and it's generally not the management team. We want someone who really cares and is passionate about it.
Yeah.
And actually only last month we brought that team together in Sydney, and we went to Bill Cruz, which is a foundation where his mantra is, if someone is hungry, he'll feed them. And we were fortunate enough to I think we fed 300 people that day just in this one facility, and I managed to cut 34 trays of potatoes. So if you need any tips on that, I'm an expert. So we've got that piece.
See all the cuts.
Actually I
okay?
did have one.
Okay.
And one of the key parts for Australia, we back in about 2022 we started partnering with a business called BlockTex. And basically two mad scientists, I think is probably the best way to describe Adrian and Graham. Lovely guys, had a vision. They wanted to look at the textile waste and how they could repurpose that better than just turning it.
The coasters that I have were made by those guys, right? Yeah.
And they've taken that beyond that. It's like on steroids. So they now can take a cotton fabric and a polycotton fabric, extrude the cotton out from the polyester, and so you end up with cellulose, which is and they make it into like a paste, like Play-Doh, and they then turn the polyester into PET pellets, which can be made into any plastics. And in February this year, we had sent in total since 2022 over 1 million kilos to their facility. And we're now sending around 60,000 kilos a month, and that's from nationally. We've managed to get some great supply partners. So from Perth, which, for the US, from New York to LA is about 5-hour flight. It's similar from Sydney to Perth. So it's a big distance to get it across. So we're now about 1.4 million kilos, and we're going to continue to do that. And that PET pellet, can we share? I think we can. Circle of Trust. That PET pellet, we're going to take, and we're going to make our first aid kits out of it.
Oh.
So
so that was the. I was hoping for two secrets, but we're only gonna. Yeah,
no, this is it's still a reasonable secret.
It is a reasonable secret.
It's in development
Breaking
phase
news
at the
over
moment.
here. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
it's great.
It's going to be rather than virgin plastic, this is going to be made from our overalls. Right. And so we're looking at doing it for APAC or for certainly Australia and New Zealand. Yeah. Have all our cabinets made out of that, and we really like that because it's that whole kind of
absolutely
story.
What a great story that
circular
is.
process. So there's nothing going to ground. Some of our engineers, there's some great innovation happening around water and reclaiming heat, and it's super exciting.
Yeah, that's great, and I know we're seeing here in the U.S. and I think it's worldwide, really, right? But the utilities and the use of utilities and how to be more efficient our type of business just naturally is a high user of utilities, all the utilities, water, gas, et cetera. And so anything that we can do to be more efficient or reuse not only helps our business, but more importantly, helps environmental impact.
Absolutely, and why not utilise, we have solar in Thailand and Singapore. It's perfect, it's hot, it's always sunny, most of the time it's sunny.
Right.
You've got a lot of plants as well that have solar, because those costs are just going up, and we're looking at other ways that we can not only sell back to the grid, but from there's something new that's happened in Australia that we're potentially looking at all of our branches putting in, and it might mean another branch is running out of electricity, so we can get it from the pool.
Oh, so almost like your own grid in a way?
Sort of, yes.
I like it.
So it's something that we've just discovered and we're having a
So it sounds like you two are still working very cooperatively together, even though your geographies are quite separate.
Well, Monique is in the office next to me. Well, her office is
when
next to me.
When she's in the office.
She's rarely there.
Yes.
But, so we have an energy and utilities manager, which is across APAC. So Harris started as an energy graduate in New Zealand. We brought him on just after COVID, which was fantastic. And so we've taken all of his learnings in New Zealand and now used them in Australia. So we've seen our utilities go up, of course, but we haven't done the numbers to say if we hadn't done anything, our costs would have been astronomical. Because the solar that we have in the...
And once you're chasing it too, it's really hard to catch up. You have to almost anticipate and be in front of it, which is why somebody like, that he pays for himself, I would imagine.
Well and truly.
Absolutely, and the transparency that he's given to us around our energy use has been just fantastic.
And it's something, not that the managers didn't focus on that, but someone who actually truly understands and is dedicated in that space.
Yes, it's a focus, it's a need to be focused.
And sometimes people look at lights, so that's an easy win, LED, but there's so much more than that. There really is. And considering gas is getting a bit scarcer, more so in New Zealand, we have to be really careful about our consumption, so the more we can cut back, the better.
So talk to me a little bit about 2026, which is rapidly upon us, approaching very quickly. What are you excited about in 2026? Until it maybe happens or doesn't happen. But in this moment, we can live just in...
Oh, no, I think it's going to be fantastic. In fairness, it's going to take the entire team. And everyone pulling in the same direction, which is why we've had the strategic launch, and everyone understands what our clear goals are and where that sits. And I think that makes it easier that everyone sees that journey to 2030, about what that looks like, route to 2030. So for me, it's about continuing to do the things that we do well. I think we need to continue to grow as a business and make sure that we don't accept mediocrity. It's always about, taking that step forward. And some of that comes from how we lead our teams. And so we're focusing on those soft skills of our leaders, because, we want to make sure that our turnover rates are coming down, because I think that shows what people want to be with us rather than have to be with us. From that customer perspective, it's about obviously maintaining our current customer, but then I don't want to say aggressively, you have to really fight for that business. And we have some good markets, be it the fresh and clean side of the business. We've got some great opportunity with the national accounts. And we don't, at this point in time in Australia, do the RSR sales, or we call them SDPs, the service team. Don't sell that well, and it's such a miss for us. So we're going to focus about giving them the skills and the opportunity. They sometimes say, sales, I'm not a salesperson.
I know, yeah.
But it's selling themselves and the service that they provide.
Well, and generally speaking, they've got such great relationships with the customers that they didn't try to have, you know what I mean? It's like this is coming natural to them. They're seeing the same people week in and week out. They start to understand their business, their problems, whatever, because they're having that conversation. This is just an extension of that conversation. Absolutely. And so trying to, again, give people those soft skills to just, if you just stayed 2 more minutes, could you have this conversation? Could you ask this question? Could you solve this problem for them? So what about you, Monique, 2026? What is exciting you about it?
So super excited. We've got Route 2030. We've got, which is powered by our people and driven by our customer.
I love that, yeah.
And it is something that we're really proud of across all of APAC, but especially for New Zealand. We introduced the customer excellence meetings, which was something that I saw in Maui a couple of years ago. We've developed this really cool dashboard that all of our branches are using, and it's looking at ways that we can grow our business and retain our customers, and that is starting to work really well. We're seeing some really good results from that, especially around the retention piece, which is really pleasing. Across Asia, we've had a really good look at all of their customers. We have some very strong growth targets, especially from the sales team. All of the sales team in Asia and New Zealand, we're providing additional training. We want to make sure that they're coached, ready to go, know their product and service, so we can aggressively start getting new customers on board, which we've struggled a little bit in Asia. We have an existing customer base that there are 8,500 customers that don't have a first aid kit or washroom services.
Yeah, you could spend all year just penetrating that, right?
50% of that, you know, at 75% would net me $2.5–3 million like that. So we've got that. I'm looking at some new services. So I have been speaking with the sales and marketing team in the US around some flying insect units, which we don't have. Our competitors have it.
Plenty of flying insects, or at least you do in Australia.
Well, that's exactly right. I was like, oh, hang on a second.
Like, well, that's not going to work in New Zealand, but you know.
Absolutely, there are flying insects in New Zealand. So New Zealand is usually the test market. You know, they did first aid, they've done it really well. Goes to Australia. Yeah. So we've got that, as well as I think meeting our customers, going out and seeing our customers a whole load more. I think we need to be, asking them what else we can do for them.
Yeah. So really partnering with them rather than just delivering to them, right? So can I ask you about Wollongong?
You can.
Okay.
That's really exciting,
I
Nicole.
know. Tell me everything. So you're building a new plant.
Yeah, so Wollongong, which is just south of Sydney, about an hour and a half to 2 hours south of Sydney. And we've actually turned some dirt.
Okay.
Well, I turned some dirt. I turned one shovel and that was enough for me.
You probably brought the dirt with you. But yeah, I think I saw something on LinkedIn or whatever of kind of a groundbreaking. So what is the timeline that you're thinking for that new facility?
We're looking at start commissioning the plant at the end of 2026. Okay. There's been some delays. Dealing with the council has been problematic. But working on the 100-year flood is always good fun. So going to commission the end of next year, and this plant's going to have robotics in it, which we're really excited about. So for our check-in system, we're hoping to have maybe one FTE, one person, instead of having 10 or 12 people doing the sorting. It's really exciting, and we're going to actually do some shuffle around of the businesses within our city
that
plants.
was what I was going to ask. So this will all the Wollongong business, current Wollongong business, I assume, will go in there, but there will also be kind of a movement between, I don't know, Campbelltown.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
So Campbelltown supports the ski fields down south, etc. So we're going to take that work and put it into Wollongong as well, because they're going to be far better equipped to deal with that. So it's really exciting. It's nice we've got through all of that kind of red tape, and now the team, we've actually got a camera up there, so we get regular updates of.
Cool.
There's not a lot happening at the moment, but give it a few months. These buildings go up pretty damn quick, and then it's the tough time.
Well, it's like nothing, which is probably a lot for them, maybe, right? They're preparing the site and doing all but then all of a sudden you look one day and you're kind of surprised by what you see.
Yeah, and Thielen and Automation are doing the robotics, but at the Clean Show there was so much robotics there, which was quite a surprise. Okay. I was fortunate enough to go in, I think it was 2018 at New Orleans, and they only just started that automatic picker, and it was hellishly slow. Right. But now, that's working very well, and they're looking at robots to move hangers onto feed stations. Yes. So give it another kind of maybe 5 years or so, and it's going to be really, really interesting what a plant could look like. Because I think the goal is to get a plant where it's only 3 touch points currently, but imagine if we could get down to 2 touch points. Right. So all our team are staying in Wollongong. All of our team are coming across.
Oh, great.
But we're going to end up over 100 kilos, so 220 pounds per operator hour. Geez, that conversion's tough.
Well, that's a great note for us to leave it on. Thank you. You guys are always so much fun to talk to.
Thank you, Dana.
Chit chat with. Maybe
Thank
we'll
you.
do it over a beer this evening. And,
Oh, why
Sounds
not?
good.
you can tell me more of your secrets. But
No more secrets, Steve.
No, shared too much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thanks,
you.
Dana.
That's all for today's episode of the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of Alsco Uniforms, where we explore the growth and challenges in our industry. Tune in next time for more industry insights, growth strategies, and tales from the field. If you've enjoyed our time together, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to learn more about our services, visit us at alsco.com. From all of us here at the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast and Alsco Uniforms, thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next episode.